One remarkable story that has been going on for years has just surfaced again. That story is the immortal life of no one other than Henrietta Lacks, or, for more of you, Gila. This story begins in a small town in Virginia named Clover. Henrietta was born and raised on their small plantation of tobacco with her family, and mainly her grandfather and her very distant cousins. Henrietta at about the age of 26, was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She went to the Johns Hopkins Hospital for the color, and there her tumor cells were shaken and given to a cell culturist by the name of George Dye. For those of you who don't know what cell culturists are, it will be explained later in the broadcast, but some quick insight. They try and take cells and keep them alive by putting them in a medium that is composed of like body fluids. Guy then took these cells and tried to culture them to survive outside of the body, like I said. The impossible happened. Gila's cells survived and are still living now. Some of the accomplishments that you might have heard of could be the polio vaccine, which was derived from Henrietta's cells. This saved thousands of lives. Or even the creation of chemotherapy. This sped up the process and threw out the window the old process, which was when Henrietta was alive. They would take tubes of radium and put them next to their tumors and try and destroy them with radiation, but the side effects were very heavy, and most of the time they were not killed from cancer, but the side effects. Now we go to Elias with her life.
Henrietta Lacks was born Loretta Pleasant in Roanoke, Virginia on August 1st, 1920. Her mother was Eliza Lacks Pleasant, her father Johnny Pleasant. Henrietta grew up on a farm in Clover. When her parents died, she was taken to go live with her grandfather and her other distant cousins. Henrietta and David Lacks both lived in the same plantation house, and it was no surprise that soon they had children. Henrietta and they married soon after and had 5 children: Lawrence, Elsie, Deborah, David Lacks Jr., nicknamed Sonny, and Joe. At the age of 26, Henrietta was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She went on to Johns Hopkins, which was the only hospital that would take black patients and actually treat them because of that time period. And Henrietta died October 4th, 1951, and her story still continues on with her legacy.
And now we go to Crespo, live in Guy's lab.
Thank you, Elias. Right now we're in the entrance of Guy's lab, and this is where Henrietta Lacks cells were a major scientific contributor. Many new advancements in science have occurred over many years after Henrietta was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and the first sample was taken from her. From Henrietta, we have learned more about cured many diseases and have made multiple scientific breakthroughs in cells, culturing, and how cells act. They found out that the human body has 46 chromosomes. Her cells were injected with the polio virus to test potential vaccines. Her cells also led to treatments for malaria and HIV. Scientists has found that cervical cancer was caused by a sexually transmitted disease called HPV, or human papillomavirus. Her cells were put inside of nuclear warheads to test the effects of nuclear blasts on human cells. They are also launched into space to test the effects of zero gravity on human cells. Her cells were injected into prisoners to see if cancer was contagious. The results were that cancer was not contagious. These are just some things that Henrietta cells has been used for. But now the discovery of information would have a bigger effect on Henrietta's family. Now to Jackson, with the effect on Henrietta's deaths and her cells had on her family.
Thanks, Crespo. So after Henrietta died, the family didn't know about her cells for 20 years. They wanted to take care of the children because Lawrence got drafted from the military and Day was working 2 jobs. So Ethel and Galen, 2 people that Henrietta knew, went in and took care of the children, although care is a very weak word in this sense. Both of them were abusive and mean. Ethel beat the kids and made them do chores around the house and be quiet. Galen focused specifically on Deborah by making her, by molesting her and just abusing her overall, and was well as just saying inappropriate names to her. So after Lawrence got back from the military, he moved to a house with his girlfriend at the time, Bobette, and they found out about what happened to about what was happening to him, and they took him out of that situation right away. But for Deborah, it didn't stop. Galen was still abusing her, essentially. So eventually, she told Bobette what was happening when she came home with a bloody nose, or with a bloody face, and that Bobette threatened if any of them touched them, if either Ethel or Galen touched the kids again, that she would hurt them. So that stopped the abuse for Deborah, but Joe, dubbed Crazy Joe, since he was very angry, Ethel beat him for no reason and made him grow up very angry. He was always into fights, and even when he went to the military, tried to cool down his personality, just made him came back even angrier. So when he got back, he killed a man named Ivy because the day beforehand he beat up Joe and his friend June. In one who's jail, which he got half the sentence of what he could have gotten because he pleaded guilty, he changed his name to Zakaria and worshipped Islam. So after the family found out about Henrietta's cells from one of Bobette's friends and friend's brother-in-law, and the whole family was in a rise. They were angry after confusion. So they tried to get recognition for Henrietta. They tried to sue, and they were getting very close to it until Cofield, a cousin of theirs, messed it up. He charged way too many things, and because he said he was a lawyer, he actually got his law degree in jail. So he messed it up. He messed up everything. Made Deborah go over the brink, went to the brink of sanity because he just asked for a court appearance so many times. So after that, kind of calmed down a bit for the family. But then Rebecca Skloot came up, and she was the one asking questions, and the one who wrote this book. She and Deborah developed a good bond. They went and talked to Zakaria about what happened. Deborah learned more about Henrietta through the questions that Rebecca had, and also through what she learned. And Deborah gave Rebecca the resources that she needed. So it was a helpful relationship. But as they were reporting together, Deborah got hives, and she was having way too high blood pressure. And so that was when she had to stop. She got a stroke. But Rebecca went on to continue interviewing, and she dug up a lot of stuff about Henrietta and how her cells helped. And it just interested Deborah a lot, and she was sad that she couldn't go and find out about the stuff, but she knew that it was for the best. So after she went and told the Lax family about what happened, they all met together and they all started to understand it. She went and wrote the book, and she called Deborah for 6 months, telling her to, saying that she finished the book, and only then only after a few days, Sunny picked it up, saying that Deborah had died after Mother's Day, and that's how she wanted to die with her. Saying that she'd hopefully with Henrietta now. So it just drove the family through a lot of pain and a lot of issues, and these issues still continue on to this day. Back to you, Josh.